What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at Windblown, a roguelike action RPG from developer Motion Twin. And if you've never heard of Motion Twin, you may have heard of their previous work Dead Cells, which was a very popular indie title. And their experience with that game is exactly why I wanted to check out this title, but I'm able to bring you this preview via a early access build provided to me by them, of course, ahead of the game's early access release on the 24th, as well as the participation in Steam Next Fest coming up in a couple weeks, where you'll be able to play some of this for yourself if you like what you see here. But with that out of the way, let's actually talk about what this game is. So, when you kick off a new game, you'll first pick one of a few different types of small animal, like a pangolin, a bat, a basilisk, etc. Now you can change this a short ways into the game afterwards, so don't feel too locked in by this particular choice, and it's mostly cosmetic anyway. Though probably worth a mention here as well that all of this game is available in co-op from 1 to 3 players, so I imagine being able to hot swap them is for the sake of visual clarity in those situations. But from there you dive in and learn the bare bones basics before heading back to your main hub when you finally die. Now this initial run is going to see you getting the basics down of simply attacking and jumping through the game's various platforms, as all of the game takes place on these big islands which are being threatened by the Vortex, a mysterious power, obviously of wind, effectively like a giant tornado, that is whipping all of these floating islands around, causing no shortage of grief that we would like to do our best to get to the bottom of and figure out by making our way to the center of it, which naturally is going to require a bunch of different runs until we manage to make it all the way through the gauntlet, so to speak. But when this little tutorial inevitably ends with your death, you're going to be revived back at what they call the Ark. For whatever reason, you happen to be implanted with what they call a pulsar, which allows you to revive upon dying, where you're given the opportunity to join with this little conglomeration of islands refers to as leapers. Leapers are effectively guardians, diving into the vortex to learn more about it and also gather parts so the Ark can build what they need. Which is where some of the core progression for this game comes in. As you continue to make the various runs through the vortex, you're going to be picking up gears and stuff that you can then spend on upgrades to the island, in addition to finding people who will expand what you can do on the island as well. Now this starts with pretty basic upgrades, like allowing you to swap out your appearance, of course, but then also being able to guarantee yourself a weapon drop at the start of runs and be able to customize your build more and more before you even start actively tackling each individual section here. And occasionally they'll even have little quests and stuff for you to find specific things, like a part for a robot that will allow you to unlock and upgrade various abilities, gear, etc. that you can find out on your way. But when you're ready, you'll hop in the cannon and get shot out into the vortex to begin an actual run. Now, I would say gameplay and combat-wise, this game is very reminiscent of something like Hades, especially in the speed at which it plays, because it is a very fast game, with you being able to dodge and move across various islands, which is like the primary mode of travel, in fact. You're going to be quickly moving through these small platforms, which often have arrangements of enemies, most of which are pretty basic to kill, but in numbers can prove deadly, and you have limited ways of healing yourself, though you will get like 1 potion per run generally. And as you move through, you're going to encounter powers, weapons, upgrades, etc. that you can throw on, until you find yourself up against things like mini-bosses and stuff. Now right away from this little demo I played, I will say that one thing I noticed pretty early is if you can get your hands on a ranged weapon, there are oftentimes bosses and the like that can simply be sort of killed from range before they activate, which I imagine is something they will want to fix during the early access period at least. But there is a variety of different weapons to use in combat. Each has their own sort of combo feels and stuff, but mostly it's things like melee weapons and then ranged weapons, and you can have up to 2 of these equipped at a time, with some of them having special effects, like Katars doing extra backstab damage. Though a little ways into the game, you get access to something called alter attacks, where basically you can do like a melee combo and then weave in your backup weapon as a sort of big major combo hit, which was a decent amount of fun to mess around with. Now, in addition to that, you're also going to be picking up things like trinkets and gifts. Trinkets are effectively things you can activate to deal some manner of damage, typically, such as, say, a throwable via a grenade or something like a big AoE ability that happens around you. And then there's your gifts. These are big passive upgrades that you can have a few of equipped, like, say, regaining health after every enemy kill, and various things of that nature. You'll usually get these Hades after you kill like a big boss or something, and then it looks like at the end of every area they have like a shop and a healing fountain that you can take part in to gear up for your run through the next biome. So again, very similar to Hades, very fast-paced game. It already just here feels very responsive and snappy, which is obviously what you want from a game like this. And I think if they can nail really fun bosses and engaging fights in the later half of the game, parts that I didn't see basically, then I think they might be onto something really fun here. And just for those wondering, because I was curious myself, this game is already ahead of its release, verified on Steam Deck. It kind of struck me as a game that would be fun to play there, at least solo anyway. When you're on the go, and obviously things like the art style, etc. aren't particularly demanding, so glad to see something like that as an option here for people. But I think that's just about everything to know in this little preview of Windblown. I certainly hope you enjoyed it, found it informative. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Let me know down below how you feel about this one. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.